Today we are going to learn about Vlookup and how we can use Vlookup function to fetch the desired data, uh, fetch it from a different source that we have right over here. And I have distributed this whole learning into 3 worksheets. The first is the basics, where we will see in a short glimpse how VLOOKUP can be used as a function. And then we'll move on to this worksheet, which is class list, which is more of a practical approach to how VLOOKUP can be used. This has a lot of data, and using this data, we would need details entered on this worksheet, right? All right, let's start with the basics for now. We have 2 columns, column A and column B, and these represent a supermarket, let's say, and the supermarket has categorized items A, and item A represents type, which is candy, and item B is ice creams, item C is chocolate bars, and item D is NutriBars, right? Now, to understand VLOOKUP in a simple manner, let's say I don't know what item C represents, and I want to know what item C's type is, right? I simply come here, type item C, and how do I fetch what item C's type is? Let's use the VLOOKUP formula to do that for us. So I'll say equals VLOOKUP. All right, once I see this, I'll press tab to select it, and it asks me for a lookup value, right? I'm looking for item C's type. So the lookup value happens to be item C. So I'll select that. I'll say comma. It asks me now for the table array, right? The table array is nothing but the source from where you want this information to be fetched, which happens to be this range, right? Now I know very well that this is the range from where the information has to be taken, and there is nowhere else that Excel needs to look into, right? So I'm going to lock this range by pressing function F4, right? If you see, now this reference has been locked, right? This range has been locked. It now says $A, $2, which means column A, row 2 till column B, row 5 has been locked. Excel will see only in this range, right? Now I'm going to say comma. It asks me for a column index number, right? I see that there are only 2 columns in this range, and the items are in the first column, column 1, and the type is in column 2. Now I want to fetch the type, which happens to be column 2, right? So I'll just type 2 and comma, and I want an exact match, so I'll select false, right? Now don't worry about false. False in Excel language basically means exact match. I'll close the bracket and say enter, right? Now I got chocolate bar, right? Now if I replace this C with a B, I should be getting what B's type is, right? So I'll just type B and enter. It shows me ice cream. See, B, ice cream. Let me change this to D. It should show me NutriBar. Yes, it's showing me NutriBar, right? D, NutriBar. Right. Now, since our basics is clear, let's go on to how we can use this in a more practical life scenario, right? So let's say this is a list of all the students studying in an MBA batch, and the university asked all the students to upload certain documentations and update some information about them on the university's portal. All of them updated it except a few, right? So the university came back to the college and said, see, we have everyone's information except for these 4, right? can you please provide us their name and their specializations, right? So these are their names. They're all either male or female, and these are their specializations, right? They can be doing finance or human resources or IS, IB, marketing, or operations, right? So we want information for these 4 people. We have their roll number, fetches their name and specialization. So you would agree that these roll numbers would be unique, and obviously these roll numbers would be available in this entire list that is known. So let's use VLOOKUP to fetch us the name and specialization, right? I come here and type equals VLOOKUP, press tab. The lookup value happens to be the roll number, because the roll number is what we would be using to fetch us the other information. And I'll say comma, the table array, right? This information has to be in this whole table, right? This whole range. So I'll just come here, I'll do a control shift right arrow key to select all the rows, sorry, all the columns, and then control shift down arrow key to select all the rows, right? Now I know very well that this is the only list that I'm going to use to fetch my information. So I'm going to lock this, right? How do I do that? I press function F4, and now if you see, it has been logged, right? Now it is $A, $2 till $D, $137th row. I'll use a comma now to go to the next argument, which is column index number. Now I know very well that from our lookup values column onwards, that is from column A onwards, the name column happens to be the second column, and we want the name, right? So I'll say 2. I want information from the second column, and I'll say comma, I want an exact match. Press tab here to select it, close the bracket, and say enter. The moment I do that, I got Gauri Khan here as the name. I'll come here to the bottom right and do a double left click, right? And rest of the names got auto-populated, right? And now let's figure out what their specializations are. So again, I'll say equals VLOOKUP. The lookup value would be the same roll number. I say comma, the table array happens to be the same range that we earlier selected. I'll do a control shift right arrow and a control shift down arrow and press function F4, because this is the only range that Excel needs to look into, right? And then press a comma, and this time pay attention, because the column index number is not 3, but it's 4, because specialization happens to be the 4th column from the column which has our lookup values, right? So from column A, B, C, D, 1, 2, 3, 4th column. So I'll put 4 and exact match, select that, close bracket, enter, and I got finance. I'm going to come here, do a double click for it to auto-populate, and we have all the information that we wanted. But just to check once whether it's correct or not, we'll see roll number 35, for example, the one which ends with 35. Is it really Sanjana Mishra having a finance specialization? Let's check that. Come to class list, see where roll number 35 is. We come here, down here, and see that Sanjana Mishra has finance. Let's check it for one more person. Let's say roll number 62, Jeet Upadhyay, operations, right? I'm coming back to class list, and I see class list roll number 62 is Jeet Upadhyay with operations, right? So VLOOKUP basically did the job for us, and we don't have to manually go through the entire list to find out what their name is or their specialization is. So that's the power of VLOOKUP. Thank you.